We are going to start 1.0, which is on vocabulary of Unit 1. This will be the first kind of stuff that you will have that's on your test. So if you know what these words mean and what they say and what they look like, you're going to be just fine for these type of questions on your test. The first four things that I think most of you know are what the four kind of angles are. I think that you know what an acute angle, a right angle, an obtuse angle, and a straight angle look like and what they are mathematically. So let's go over it really quickly. Angles that are acute, angles that are right, angles that are obtuse, angles that are straight. I want you, with your partner, I want you to go over what you think an acute angle is, a right angle, an obtuse angle, and a straight angle. If you're the person sitting on this side of the class, you are the north person. Sitting on this side of the column, you're the north person. You're sitting on this side, you're the south person. North, south. South, north. South, north. I want the north person to tell the south person what they think an acute angle and a right angle is. I want the south person to listen, and you're either going to agree or disagree. And then south person, you're going to tell the north person what an obtuse angle is and a straight angle is, and you'll discuss that right now. Ready? Teach.
Okay. So I think the acute angle, I don't know. I think it's below 90 degrees, and I think a right angle is 90 degrees. 90 degrees. And then I think you're supposed to say what the obtuse and straight angle are. Yeah, I think so.
Class. Based off of what I heard, a lot of you know what the answers are. But let me show you what it's going to look like on your test. You're going to need to know two things. The first thing is, what does it look like in words or mathematically? Mathematically, acute. A lot of you know what it is. Go ahead and say what you. Well, no. Mathematically, what this looks like is that 0 is less than x is less than 90 degrees. Your angle is somewhere between 90 degrees and 0. If it was 0, it wouldn't be an angle. It has to be bigger than 0. Has to be smaller than 90 degrees. That's what it's going to look like mathematically. Now, as a picture, it may look something that is less than 90 degrees. It would look something like that. Bless you. Mathematically, a right angle is equal to 90 degrees. As a picture, it would look something like this with usually they have a little box in it that looks like that. That box means that it is exactly 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is something that is bigger than 90 degrees, but smaller than 180. An obtuse angle is anything that looks something like this. A straight angle, on the other hand, is an angle that is equal to 180 degrees. It is made of two opposite rays, and it looks like a straight line. And I say this because when we get to your chapter test, if you know what the words mean and you can identify the picture and you can identify what the mathematical thing is, you're going to get that question right. And so I'm hoping that this starts off very easy. Oh yeah, I got that. I know what that means. And if not, that's why we're taking notes, so you can look it over and review it. Where I think some of you are going to have maybe a little bit more difficult time are these angle pairs, because they're so similar to each other. Let's talk about what they are and what they mean. Bless you. Angle pairs. We have adjacent, we have a linear pair, we have complementary angles, we have supplementary angles, and we have vertical angles. Adjacent. If I were to say what adjacent angles are, they are next to each other, but mathematically or in words, they share a side. When I say they share a vertex and a side, they have that in common. That's one of the words that they use. It's a common vertex and a common side. When they're adjacent, they can be acute angles that are adjacent. They can be obtuse angles. They can even be a straight angle when they're adjacent as well, both of them together. A linear pair is different. A linear pair always add up to a straight line. A linear pair are adjacent angles that have opposite rays. Adjacent. Let me erase that because that's not very pretty. There we go. A linear pair are adjacent angles that have opposite rays. A linear pair looks like the one angle plus the other angle makes a straight line. They are supplementary. A linear pair is adjacent, but adjacent angles aren't always a linear pair. Complementary angles add up to how many degrees? See if you remember, say it out loud. Add up to how much? 90. Ooh, a lot of you remember that. Good job. Supplementary angles add up to, that's the difference. So complementary angles add up to 90. They can be adjacent, but they don't have to be. So sometimes you'll see complementary angles looking like this when they're adjacent. Sometimes they will be separated, but they're still complementary, and they might have something like 30 degrees and 60 degrees, so that you know they add up to 90. The same thing goes for supplementary angles. Sometimes they will be adjacent and form a linear pair, but sometimes they will just be next to each other or near each other, and they still add up to 180 degrees. So let's do 60 and 120. The last word that we're going to deal with here are vertical angles. And that is two angles whose sides are opposite rays. Two angles, sides are opposite rays. What that looks like is this. Two opposite rays basically form a straight angle. But if you have two sides that are opposite rays, it looks like this. So the vertical angles would be like angle 1 and angle 1, or angle 2 and angle 2. Angle 1 and angle 1 are vertical angles. Angle 2 and angle 2 are vertical angles. They're the ones that are across from each other because the sides are opposite rays. I'm going to end this as part 1 of the recording.